Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's from the Bleachers. Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Broadcasting live out of the Findlay Hyundai studio this Monday, 4 o'clock hour. We're just getting things started out of the weekend.
We're here. It's Monday.
We are here, and it is Monday.
Yeah, it's supposed to be raining the next few days as well. That's not good.
It's been raining out there already. I think it's kind of drying out there. I haven't looked
Yeah.
outside in the last half hour or so, but about a half hour ago, it was pretty rainy.
But it's supposed to kick back up and rain tomorrow, Wednesday, into Thursday. And you know what we're trying to do this weekend, don't you, Caden? We're trying to start off Region 10 baseball play. Starts
That's true.
tomorrow.
I thought you were going to be like, go golfing. I don't know what you're trying to do.
Well,
this
I'm always
weekend.
trying to do that. But no, more importantly, we're trying to start Region 10 baseball play and softball play. But I'm questioning whether we will get games in tomorrow and maybe even Wednesday. And I'm telling you what, right now, there's really not an open week where you can make up these games. So if they get canceled, it's going to be very difficult to make up these games, is what I'm saying. Because also this weekend, a lot of the teams have their third week of preseason baseball. So there's already tournaments scheduled. And like I said, if the matchups tomorrow and Wednesday get canceled, it's going to be scramble time to try to make those up. I don't know where they will. I'm sure that somebody has a plan somewhere, but it'll be difficult. So Mother Nature, kind of cooperate with us a little bit.
Yeah, so earlier today, part of what I do here with the Fan Sports Network is try to keep the back end of things smooth and operational and running and looking good. I went and I updated the website for the baseball schedule and the baseball calendar and just got all of the scores and stuff updated from the games that have already been going on and over the weekend. And there's a few games that were missed due to inclement weather.
Yeah, and
it happens.
I'm okay with tournaments games getting canceled due to inclement weather. But we're into Region 10 now. We're into the real stuff. And, when you play Tuesday and Friday games, now I know this week would be Tuesday, Wednesday, but normally it's a Tuesday and Friday game, and you're playing every week up until the first round of the baseball playoffs start. So it'll be very difficult to make up these games if they do get canceled. I'm sure somebody has some sort of a plan B where we can get them made up, but it will be some sort of a scramble, and it will be a stress on arms, whether it's a baseball pitcher or a softball pitcher. Softball doesn't really have the regulations, I don't think, that baseball pitchers have, but it'll be tough. It'll be tough to make them up.
Yeah, it will be. That's part of this time of year is the weather.
Yeah.
You got to deal with it. We're even talking about the game tomorrow, right? And we're trying to broadcast one of the games tomorrow, but we're also focused on weather. And depending on what happens with weather is big indicator of what happens with that game.
Yeah, whether regardless of on the schedule, we had Crimson Cliffs at Desert Hills was going to be our first broadcast of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm questioning whether that will happen or not, just due to inclement weather. We'll see what happens. Hopefully there's some sort of a window or some sort of a break where we can squeeze the game in. But as long as the outfield doesn't get too soggy and too wet,
the infield can't get muddy. But luckily they have tarps and
Desert Hills,
so it should be okay.
Yeah, Desert Hills is one of the schools, maybe the only school, don't quote me on this, that has a full infield tarp. I mean, it covers
not just a mound tarp.
Not just the mound or the home plate. Yeah, it covers the entire infield. And so that definitely plays into the favor there. So they could keep it covered, and if there is a 2-hour window or a 3-hour window, we might be able to get a game in. But man, looking at the weather, I just don't know how. I just don't see a 3-hour or 2.5-hour window where they're going to get that in. Especially, the outfield still has to be playable as well. Not just the infield. The outfield, has to be playable as well. And I know that can be an issue as well. So, even if like Snow Canyon, where you've got a mixture of turf and then the outfield is grass, even though your infield might be turf, that outfield still has to be playable as well. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to watch tomorrow. I know a lot of people have the eyes on the weather starting right now and looking into tomorrow. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people getting on the weather app, whether it's WeatherBug or Weather Channel or whether everybody's going to be getting on their weather app and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, it's true. I'm not surprised to see that happening.
Yeah.
So, well, a couple of things as we get rolling in here. Just a reminder that something newish, new to us. It still feels new. You can go and watch us live on YouTube right now. So if you want to catch the show, if you have more time than maybe if you're just driving in your car, I suggest you listen on the radio if you're driving in the car. But once you get out and you say, I want to continue the conversation, you can go and watch it over on YouTube.
Well, and the great thing is, too, even when the show's over, you can go back and listen and watch our show. So if we had some, really good guests in studio like we did last week, we hope to have a few more this week. You don't have to catch it live. You can go back to YouTube, watch it there. I think that is a fantastic option for a lot of people because, between 4 and 6, that's, a lot of people are kind of busy. They're getting off work. Maybe they're picking up kids. Yeah, you can hear us in the radio, but you're in and out. And if there is something that really does interest you, hey, there's no need to worry. Just head on over to your laptop, iPad, whatever, pop it open to YouTube, and you can catch it right there.
Yeah, it's easy. Just hop on over. It's easy to find us. Just go to YouTube, look for the Fan Sports Network. Super easy to find us. Mark, I assume you know of at least one listener.
I do, yes.
And viewer.
Did you see me wink at her?
I did. I 100% saw it, but here's the thing. It was not on the camera when you did it. Do it again.
Oh, making me blink.
There you go.
Or making me blush, I mean.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So if you want to hop on over to YouTube, you can. It's there and available for you. And as you mentioned, you can always watch back the live streams later.
I love what we're doing here with the progress that we're making as far as adding this YouTube platform to our listeners and our viewers now. I just think it's just magnificent. The quality that you and our engineers here have put together, it's tremendous. And hats off to you guys, because I know there's been a lot of work put into this. It is fantastic. And again, not everybody accesses content the same way. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's YouTube, radio, streaming through the app, everybody accesses content differently now. And we're just adding to that content. We're just adding our content to multiple platforms now, which I think is pretty darn good.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So you can listen on the radio, 99.5, 95.3 in St. George, or 93.1 in Cedar. You can listen on the app, the Fan Sports Network app. You can listen on our website, or you can watch on YouTube.
And
that's a lot.
The great thing is,
it's a lot. It's accessible.
It is. And the viewers will see how mad I actually get at Caden sometimes.
Oh, it's so much fun. If we have heated discussions, and maybe today is one of those days, I don't know. If we have heated discussions, it's fun to watch.
Oh,
it's
man.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Let's start things off with what happened over the weekend, with a lot of great basketball, college basketball,
dude.
Some upsets and more. I mean, we got to get into this. And it's going to be fun.
I got to tell you, I was so busy with Desert Hills baseball this weekend. Do you know how many seconds of the first 2 rounds, or not 2 rounds, I should have said the second round. So Saturday and Sunday's games.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know how many seconds of the tournament that I watched?
My guess?
Well, we're going off of seconds and not even minutes. We're not even going off of minutes or hours. We're going off of seconds.
Let's go with like 7 seconds.
0.
Okay. I mean, that was the easy answer, but I wanted to give you some credit.
7
seconds worth of credit.
Especially Saturday, I am like, I have my laptop up in the press box, and I'm getting all these alerts with upsets going on. Upset alert, upset alert. And I was just, certainly involved in Desert Hills baseball and didn't have an opportunity to watch those games. But my goodness,
It was fun.
Is everybody's bracket just blown up to a certain extent? It has to be.
Mine is not that bad.
Well, I still have my 2 finalists in. I have 3 out of 4 Final Fours.
I also have 3 out of 4 Final Fours. Here's the thing. Right now, my Midwest bracket, perfectly intact.
Really?
I have all of those. I only missed 1 through the first round, but the second round I got all correct.
Yeah.
The West, I got all of the first round correct. And then I only missed 1. And it was not the Kansas-Arkansas. I got Arkansas upsetting Kansas. I had the 8 seed moving on. It was something else. I don't remember which one it was. But my West, my Midwest, they look phenomenal. Now my East is horrible. It looks so bad. It's not good. Well, let's hop into it. What side of the bracket should we take a look at
Let's
first?
start with the East since you just mentioned it. And that was where, certainly in that second round game, there was a huge upset.
Yeah, for our viewers on YouTube, we have the bracket pulled up there. You can see FAU, Tennessee have made it through, Kansas State and Michigan State. Now, when the third seed is the best seed available, like that's the top seed left, you know that it's been crazy. Because, right now, Kansas State is the third seed, is the best seed available right now. Tennessee with the fourth seed coming in. But the fact that, Purdue losing out early, Marquette losing to Michigan State was huge.
Yep.
It's that side of the bracket really is madness, as they say, right? It's crazy over there. So that one's insane.
Again, I wasn't able to watch that game, but my goodness, looking at the score, that Michigan State Marquette game wasn't. I mean, it was a 9-point difference.
And it was a good game.
Was it a good game?
It was a good game. And again, I didn't catch it either, but I was able to catch the replays and stuff like that later. But as far as that game goes, it looked like it was a decent game. It's just, again, Michigan State down the final stretch, they just pulled it off. They just, it comes down to, can you just win the game, right? Can you close out a game? And Michigan State they were able to get in there, close out the game against Marquette, and move everything along for them.
And again, not watching the game, but how does FAU beat Purdue? Number 1 seed.
Well, so FDU, so that's what's funny. FDU and FAU match up, right?
FDU, I'm sorry.
Goes and beats Purdue. FAU beats Memphis.
Correct.
And then you have the FDAUs,
the
FDUs,
FDAs, and the FDUs.
Oh, calm down. You have those guys meeting up in the second round. And, and one of them, obviously, and of course, it's FAU, who comes out of it to face Tennessee, coming up in the Sweet 16. So Tennessee making it's not a surprise. That's one that I chose Duke because I felt like I had to. There was some loyalty there. And then I had Duke losing to Purdue, and I had a 1-2 in the Elite Eight, but that's obviously shattered and broken.
Yeah, right.
I don't know of anybody that has a good East bracket right now, to be honest. I really don't.
If they do, it's probably on their 23rd bracket.
A few people.
You know what I mean?
I know of some people that had Michigan State beating Marquette, and I'm like,
sure,
okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like I had Arkansas beating Kansas. It happens, right? You're going to have a 7 seed beat a 2 seed, an 8 seed beat a 1 seed. Some people are going to get that. And good for you if you did.
Yeah.
Those are not easy games to get correct. But yeah, I love what's happening in the East because no matter what, when we get into the Final Four, it's going to be a team that maybe they didn't I wouldn't say they didn't deserve it. If you're there, you deserve it. But maybe a team we didn't see coming through the regular season.
So out of the East, who do you have in the Final Four coming out of that?
I had Marquette.
You had Marquette, and see, I had Purdue.
Yeah, I originally had Marquette, and so when Purdue lost that first round, I was like, I have a good shot with Marquette making it to the Final Four. This is awesome. And then it just died. And the thing is, that bumped me into first in my brackets,
right?
Just because so many people had Purdue moving on, and I didn't. And the team that I had was still available, still in. I know some people have Kansas State moving on. That's a good choice. I think Kansas State and Tennessee does make a lot of sense for the Elite Eight, but we'll see.
And I did have Kansas State where they are now.
Yeah.
I did have K-State where they are now, but then losing to Purdue. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. It's fun. I like what's happening in the East. So, yeah, it's great. Where should we head to next? What side of the bracket are we going to?
Let's just hop over to the West.
Hopping over to the West. All right. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to get it pulled up for you. And the West, again, this is the one that right now I look really smart. I had Arkansas upsetting Kansas, and what a game that was. 72-71, Arkansas holding on.
Incredible.
That one was a fun game. And again, I was able to catch the last few minutes of that one. That one was great.
So how far do you have Arkansas going?
I had Arkansas. I want to say, so here's the thing. I had Arkansas facing against St. Mary's, and I got that one wrong. That was the one game first game I got wrong in the West was the St. Mary's UConn game.
Okay.
Every other game I've gotten correct in the West so far. I had St. Mary's moving on. I should have had UConn. I just saw St. Mary's play this year more than UConn, and I'm like, yeah, they got a decent team. So I had St. Mary's beating Arkansas and moving on to the Elite Eight to face off against UCLA.
Okay.
That obviously is not going to happen. UCLA is still available. That one's still there. So UCLA is going to have to go beat Gonzaga for me to have a chance. What about you? What do you have right now? In the Elite Eight?
Now for me, that Gonzaga UCLA game is a huge matchup to kind of keep
for a lot of people.
Yeah, to keep my bracket intact. I have Gonzaga upsetting UCLA.
Yeah.
So because I do have Gonzaga in the finals, I have them.
That's big.
Yeah. So that is a huge matchup that I will certainly be paying attention on Thursday to keep an eye on that game, because that will kind of decide how my bracket stays intact and how I can try to catch you in our office pool. So
you promised you were going to beat me.
I know.
And right now, look who's in number one.
You are sitting number one.
I'm sitting number one.
Yes, you are.
I think I'm tied for one, though. I think I'm tied for number one.
Are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're still number one, though.
I'm still number one. For now. Here's the thing. I'm number one through the first two rounds. I think I was number one last year through the first two rounds. I finished in like 20th. It happens.
Yeah, it
does. Happens. You never know.
Does.
So I have a really good probability, but that doesn't mean it's going to end up that way.
Right.
So, yeah, the West was fun. I like what's been going on over there. And again, it's just one of those that I feel like I guessed it pretty well, but then again, you look at what teams are there. It's the 2 seed, it's the 3 seed, it's the 4 seed, and then a random 8 seed.
And I had I had UConn where they are right now.
Did you have them going through?
I had them right here where they're at right now, and then losing to Kansas, who is obviously knocked out.
So did you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 in for your Sweet 16? In the West bracket, did you have 1, 2, 3, 4?
Let's see.
Kansas, UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA.
Kansas. Yes, I did.
Yeah. And again, that's one of those that if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, and you didn't take any chances, and you're just like, I'm just going to go chalk here, you probably have a good
2, 3.
West.
You have 2, 3, 4 still intact.
Yeah. See, and I went a little off. I went 2, 3, 5, 8.
Okay.
And again, that in most brackets.
Yeah.
In most brackets, you have UCLA and Gonzaga left if you went chalk. If you did what I did, what I thought would happen. Instead, you get 3 with UConn because I decided to try to be fancy and guess a 5th seed beating a 4 seed.
Hey,
but again, you never know. It's
you
one of those
never know.
It's one of those middle sections.
Playing in these bracket challenges is really the same as going to Vegas or going to Mesquite and having fun in the casinos. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Especially this year. We talked about this going in. This is probably going to be one of the most craziest March Madnesses there has ever been with upsets, and it's not disappointing so far.
No.
It's not.
No, you're right about that.
We knew it was going to be crazy.
Yeah, and it has been, and it's fun, and I like what we're doing. It's been great. All right, let's move on. Should we look at the Midwest now?
Yes, do. Midwest.
All right, Midwest, here we go. So Houston is the 1 seed. No surprises there. They've actually had a pretty easy go of it so far, getting through Northern Kentucky and Auburn fairly easily. And that does surprise me a little bit. They've had some injuries here or there. So I originally thought Houston might be the one I take to go all the way, and I switched it up and I went with Bama. We'll see what Houston brings out of this. In fact, I have Texas coming out of this side of the bracket.
I do too.
But again, this is another one of those where you have 1, 2, 3, and 5 that's left. So if you kind of went chalk on that, you're doing okay. You're doing okay. But again, this is the one side of the bracket that right now through the Sweet 16, I have all of those correct. I had Houston and Miami, Xavier and Texas.
That's impressive. I had Houston, Texas, and Xavier. So
did you have Indiana going through?
Well, I had Miami.
Well, Miami's still in.
Oh no, wait a minute. What I got here? So Drake. Oh, well, shoot. I don't know how I'm reading this.
I don't know how you're reading it either. I don't see your screen.
I don't either. So Houston plays.
Houston is in. Houston's going to play Miami.
For some reason, I had Drake going to that spot.
Oh, you went with a big ol' upset.
Did. Yeah, I did.
You went with a big ol' upset of Drake moving on.
Yeah.
All right. But instead, Miami took that path.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you had Xavier, Texas, Houston. So the rest was fine.
That's it.
Yeah. And you look at some of those games, Texas beating Penn State 71-66, Xavier 84-73. Right now, the Midwest is just full of blowout games. Miami beating Indiana big. The Midwest has not given us really any good close games yet.
Mm-mm.
And even through the first round. There's not really close games. The Midwest's been kind of boring.
Yeah.
I mean, outside of a couple of upsets with, Pitt, for example, upsetting Iowa State. That was a big one that very few people probably had that. You get those 11-6 upsets quite often, though. So, those are some of the upsets that, again, were they really that big of an upset? I don't know. The Midwest has been, again, maybe the boring side of the bracket through the first 2 rounds.
Right.
So, not too bad. But let's look at the side of the bracket that is, to me, the most interesting. Okay, let's go to the South. The reason I say this is interesting, Princeton goes and beats number 2 Arizona. In a close game, they beat them. Then they go and beat Missouri 78-63.
Again, not even a close game.
And to me, that is not a close game.
No, heavens no.
They go and beat Missouri, and now they got to go take on Creighton, who, by the way, Creighton, as a 6th seed, beats Baylor fairly easily. And they move on as well. That side of the bracket is so interesting to me. San Diego State as well. You were going to
I was just going to say, I had Creighton being where they are right now. I had Creighton beating Baylor. Yeah. That's exactly what it was. It was a good guess.
I think a few people had Creighton. And to be fair, a lot of the bracketologists would have taken Creighton over Baylor in that second round.
And I did have them. Obviously, I didn't have Princeton sitting where they are right now.
I don't know of anybody that has Princeton going to the Sweet 16.
San Diego State, I do have them where they are to face Bama. So that's a matchup I will be watching. Again, the 2 matchups that really need to come together for me will be Gonzaga over UCLA and Bama over San Diego State. I need those 2 games to go my way to keep my bracket intact. So I have an opportunity to take you over.
Somehow I also had San Diego State going.
Did you?
I'm
Bama?
I'm a little impressed with myself.
Against Bama.
Yeah, San Diego State and Bama. I had that one. I did not have Creighton or Princeton. I had Baylor, and I think I just had Baylor and Arizona. I think I just went boring and went 1, 2, 3, 5.
So with these Sweet 16 matchups coming up starting on Thursday, what are the ones that stand out to you? What are the ones that you could see potential upsets coming in, Caden?
Right now, so again, let's stay here in the South. To me, Princeton is just such a wild card that I have no idea what it is that they offer, right? They won that last game so well. But again, I know Creighton's a good team. Creighton should win that game. Creighton should be moving on to the Elite Eight. But Princeton is just such a shock at this point. It's like, can they keep shocking? And those runs usually are going to have to come to an end sometime. Sweet 16 is usually where that happens.
Usually because you get that 4-day break or 5-day break from your last game, and reality kind of
Yeah.
starts to sit in. And I think that's why in the Sweet 16, a lot of these Cinderellas get knocked out because
and they have time to game plan and they get to look at film. That's the biggest thing is Creighton's going to be able to backtrack and they're going to look at film of Princeton and say, how are they winning these games? They're going to go hit up the locker room, hit up the gym and whatnot, and they're going to sit down and watch these film sessions of Princeton going through and beating Missouri and beating Arizona and saying, how did this even happen? And then at the end of it, they'll say, okay, here's what they're running. Here's what they're doing. Here's how we beat it.
But that being
That's what they do.
Creighton isn't Arizona. Creighton isn't Alabama. They're not one of those powerhouse number one seeds.
Neither is Princeton.
I know. That's what I'm saying, though. But if you're Princeton, you've got to have that attitude of, who's Creighton? Sure, they're a 6th seed. We're a 15th seed. Or
Creighton's
a
a basketball school. I mean, they're consistently in
they are
in the playoffs.
Yeah,
right?
they are.
So for Princeton, though, this is one of those situations where you have to be looking at yourself and saying, hey, we're doing a pretty good job. We're doing a pretty good job. That's where I have it with the South. Mark, we got to get to a break. We've been talking for a long time. We've been talking for a long time. But this is what's fun. Let's come back. We're going to talk more college basketball and talk upsets. Who we think is going to maybe not find their way out of the Sweet 16, even though maybe they should. So stick around. More of that coming up next after the break here on From the Bleachers. Welcome back in, everybody. It's from the Bleachers, broadcasting live from the Findlay Hyundai studio. Kid and Master Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Also broadcasting live on YouTube.
Yes.
Where you can watch. Go to the Fan Sports Network YouTube page and watch us do the show live over there. If you have questions, put it in the comments. If you have comments, put it in the comments. That's why it's there. Easy enough, right?
Absolutely. Hey, Caden, so there's been some there's a few teams missing from the Sweet 16.
Okay.
And I know we're going to get into we're going to talk a little bit about the Sweet 16 coming up here as well. Some matchups that we want to keep an eye on and maybe even, predict an upset or two, even if it goes against our bracket.
Sure.
But Duke, University of North Carolina, Kansas, and Kentucky. None of those blue chip programs, as we call blue chip.
Or blue bloods. Yeah.
Blue bloods. They are not in the Sweet 16. Now, that has only happened 3 times since the Field of 64 has been created.
Okay. And how long ago was the Field of 64 created? Do you know that?
Since 1975.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good chunk of time then.
So were you even thought about being born?
Oh, no.
Not even thought about.
No. My mom was in 75.
Yeah.
11. So no. My mom maybe was thinking, hey, maybe one day when I'm older, I'd like to have kids. But I specifically was not thought of.
Now, the last time it happened wasn't long ago. It was 2021.
So
not long
2
ago.
years ago.
But before that, it was a long, long, long time. 1979.
Okay. Oh, okay.
And 1976.
So basically, when they went to 64, those programs probably hadn't even evolved to be the basketball programs that we know them as today. As much, at least.
North Carolina was certainly there.
I mean, they were all there, but
Kentucky maybe not. Well, no, they've always had. No, they were always one of the top. They were. I think those 4. They were always in that top.
There was just a good stretch, though, through the 80s, 90s, early 2000s where those programs were just
They were dominant.
They were just good.
And that was a time in basketball where student athletes stayed for 4 years. So as a coach...
Yeah, it's true. You had people staying a lot longer.
Yeah, your team from year to year. This year, nowadays, basketball, you just don't know. It's one and, we've heard the term one and done. All that kind of stuff. So... it was different back then too, because you could really build a program.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like who would you also put into some of the blue blood schools besides
UCLA?
Those
UCLA is one of them.
The first one that came to mind for me.
Yeah, for me too.
Outside of that though, Michigan maybe. They've been a big basketball
Michigan State
school.
As well.
Michigan State at times.
Well, Tom Izzo's he's always had a good Michigan State program.
Yeah.
So I would put Michigan State in that 1B category as well.
Yeah, you have your 1As of Duke, North Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky. Yeah. You have some other ones in there of like we mentioned, Michigan State, UCLA. Arizona lately, I would throw Arizona in for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
They're on that list for sure.
Up until the early 2000s, though, I would certainly throw Indiana in on that as well. Bobby Knight, Indiana teams.
And again, just the last few years. Yeah, the last 20, really. Maybe Indiana and Arizona kind of flip-flopped a little bit there.
Yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, let's continue on. We've been talking about, of course, the bracket, what's going on with the playoffs and everything March Madness related. So we talked about the South, some upsets there. We know that the East is a little crazy. With what's left, is there really anything that's actually marked as an upset? So let's look at it. FAU and Tennessee. If FAU wins, that's an upset because I don't know if I would have put them in that position ever. Again, they should have been facing off against a 1 seed. They got the luck of the draw and faced off against a 16 seed. Got to win by 8 points and then moved on to face Tennessee. Outside of that, Kansas State, Michigan State, I feel like that's a great matchup, and I feel like whoever moves on from that, neither of which is, to me, an upset. Obviously, Michigan State technically would be the upset if they move on.
Yeah, K-State being a 3 seed, but, Michigan State, we were just talking about, they normally have
They have a good enough program.
enough program, right? But yeah, but if you just take it for what it shows, a 3 seed versus a 7 seed, yeah, it's a minor upset for sure.
Yeah. So outside of that, though, I mean, to me right now, the East, where it's at, shocking up to this point. From this point on, if we're just looking Sweet 16 and on, to me, if FAU beats Tennessee, that's the biggest shocker there. And then I don't care, Kansas State or Michigan State, either one of those could win. Kansas State, yes, being the 3 seed, I would expect them to be the ones to move on. If they don't, though, I'm not going to be all that upset or shocked or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, the top half of that East, I don't even want to look. There's a lot of red on mine.
That's the problem. My personal bracket, I just have to put that out of my mind when I look at the East.
Man.
Because I'm done. That whole side of the bracket is just gone. I have 0 left.
Yeah.
I think I have 0. I don't have it pulled up right now, my bracket. But it's not good. Let me see. Let me pull it up real quick because I don't think I have anything left in the East. Of course, it's going to take a million years to load, so we'll get to it later. Let's hop over to the West then, in the meantime, shall we?
The West, I think, has one of the best matchups for the Sweet 16, Gonzaga and UCLA. I am really looking forward to that matchup again, and this matchup kind of hinges on if one of my finalists continues on, which I have Gonzaga winning this game. And I know UCLA had an injury to one of their better players. I can't remember off the top of my head who that was, but that definitely is a feather in Gonzaga's hat. Not that they, certainly wished for that, but it did happen. So we'll just have to see what happens there with UCLA's health and see if they're at full strength. But that is not just
it was David Singleton.
Yes.
High ankle sprain. So.
Right.
And that's something, a high ankle sprain, that's like what Patrick Mahomes had in the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
Playable, but
basketball's
a different sport.
Different.
Basketball's a different sport, right?
Yeah, you need your ankles when you're playing
basketball. For basketball, I expect him to be out. Yeah.
I heard somebody say it was broken, but you're coming with
from what I'm seeing is they say it's a high ankle sprain, but again, some of those injury reports I don't always fully trust because they're trying to put out information that whoever they're going up against is going to see. Do I need to plan on them coming back? Do I need to plan on them sitting out? We don't know. They like to provide some hint of question.
Yeah, Singleton, one of their better defensive players, and you're going to need to have full strength against Gonzaga, who is the country's top offense.
Yeah.
So you're going to need all the defensive power you have. If you're the Bruins, normally I'd be going for the Bruins here. I've always been kind of a UCLA guy when it comes to basketball. But in my bracket I have Gonzaga, so I'm going with the Zags to minor upset, but to upset the UCLA Bruins.
All right. I have UCLA, so this one's one that you and I differ on. And I have UCLA going all the way through to the Final Four as well. So not only do they win this, I have them winning the next as well. I know a lot of people have UCLA, and to me, they're just they're a good basketball school, much like Gonzaga's a good basketball school.
Sure,
but I just believe that right now UCLA might be a little bit more of a complete program. That's no dig at Gonzaga, but lately Gonzaga just hasn't been able to get to that finish line. They just never do it, right? Gonzaga always has a good team, and they just struggle to get past a certain point. And I think this year UCLA is going to be that barrier.
Well, and again, Gonzaga is one of those programs that kind of
they would be considered a blue blood.
Yeah, certainly
right?
now. Over the past I want to say 15 years.
John Stockton and on, really? John Stockton, I would say, put them on the map.
John Stockton kind of put them on the map, but it was so funny.
And then from there on, they started to build the program.
When John Stockton was drafted.
People were like, who's Gonzaga?
Gonzaga? Who? What? Yeah. Where's that
That'd be like someone saying, they were drafted from Snow College. People would be like, what?
What? Who? Yeah.
Where is that?
That's what Gonzaga was for a long time was, they were known for John Stockton. And like I said, I remember when John Stockton was drafted. Gonzaga, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, but the Zags definitely over the past 15 or so years, I would definitely put in that
I would throw
that
even,
top echelon.
I would say over 20, 25, maybe even.
I'd have to go back and look, but yeah.
Because even when I just remember being a kid in elementary school, and we're again 20 years ago.
Yeah.
That Gonzaga was a name that was consistently
With
in
basketball.
it all 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So, but again, I don't know about before that too much, just because I didn't follow it, and I don't go back and just look at old brackets from the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, I do know that from John Stockton on, it has been a program that has grown into what it is now, and it's a contender most years.
Yep.
Most years. So, yeah, there you go. That's what's going on again in the West. Arkansas against UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. If we're talking upsets, Arkansas, UConn, to me, Arkansas winning is still an upset. A little bit. Just enough.
Oh, for sure. If Arkansas beats UConn, absolutely.
And the reason, by the way, again, if you're just tuning in, I told you I had Arkansas beating Kansas. And that's just because Arkansas had some injuries in the beginning of the year. Those players are back. They have really good NBA talent on Arkansas. Like 4 guys that are potential NBA prospects, right? With that many guys that's NBA prospects, and again, some of them injured throughout the season, so they dropped back a ways. Yeah, they're going to be a team that wins games. That's why they beat Kansas. Can they go and beat UConn for the same reason? I don't see why not.
I see Arkansas winning that game.
I think Arkansas can win that game. And Gonzaga UCLA is going to be just a boxing match. That's going to be a tough game.
That's going to be one of the, again, that's, regardless of what your bracket looks like, just having those two schools go up against each other is going to be a highly viewed basketball game.
Yeah. That one's exciting. Gonzaga UCLA, that's exciting. Arkansas UConn, still exciting for different reasons though, because you get a little bit of underdog in Arkansas. But it's an Arkansas team with so much talent that's just it's peaking at the right time.
Yeah, and then you go to the Midwest and you have another 2-3 matchup, but it just doesn't have the same ring as UCLA Gonzaga. You got Xavier and Texas.
Yeah,
going up. Again, it just doesn't have that UCLA Gonzaga flair to it.
In Texas, agree or disagree with me, I feel like Texas is considered I don't know. It's not really a football school and it's not really a basketball school, but they're known for both. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have Texas winning that game.
You know what I mean? Xavier is a basketball school. Xavier's a basketball school. Texas is like, hey, we're good. We were talking about this before the show started. Are you a jack of all trades and master of none?
Right.
Sometimes Texas fits into that mold where it's like they're a pretty good football team. Yeah. They're not the best, but they're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're a pretty good basketball team. They're not the best, If you're talking about their days just in the Big 12, it's like football-wise, okay, well, you have to deal with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. This year been TCU. And then you look at basketball, Kansas. I mean, the Big 12 is insane for basketball. So Baylor's always really good, right? Texas and Xavier, that's just an interesting one to me. It's a good one, but it's not the same. I agree with you about it not being the same.
And it's a 2-3 matchup, but I definitely see Texas. Well, I have Texas moving on to that. The other Sweet 16 matchup, Houston and Miami. I have Houston winning that game.
Yeah, I do as well. And I would actually say that Miami winning that game would be an upset. I think that is an upset there. Even though they're playing really good basketball, Miami beating Houston, upset. So can they do it, though? That's kind of a question on everyone's minds right now. Are some of these 5-1 matchups or better or worse, whatever you want to call them.
When we got here and we were starting our sales meeting this morning here at St. George News, and one of our sales reps who's in the office pool, she's like, my bracket is so busted. I'm like, everybody's is. Just
welcome to March.
You just gotta hope. You just gotta hope that yours isn't as busted as the people that you're playing against.
Well, like we said, so we have an office bracket, right? Of course, we have our Fan Sports Network bracket that we're so glad everyone's playing along with, right? But we have one for just our office people. I'm currently in first in that one, which is awesome for me. But I look at my own bracket and I'm like, how can I be in first? Because I have so many that are wrong. And then again, you look at everyone else's. It's like, oh, mine's really wrong. It's just less wrong than everyone else's.
Yeah, it's exactly the way it is.
Sometimes you just have to be a little more optimistic and go glass half full on that.
Yep.
So hey, let's take another break, shall we? And when we come back, we have more for you here on From the Bleachers. Stick around. Back here on From the Bleachers, Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice, you know. Hey, Caden.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you like ice cream?
I love ice cream. Yeah.
You like it even when it's cold? Can you have ice cream even when it's cold outside?
It could be -20, and I'm still eating me a bowl of ice cream.
I do too. Well, if you want to
Yeah.
get some free ice cream, this is how you do it.
Okay.
So it's the first day of spring.
Today is?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's news.
It's free cone day at Dairy Queen.
Okay.
You can walk in, get a free small vanilla soft serve, no purchase necessary. So when you go in there, get your free ice cream cone. You're welcome.
Free ice cream.
Free. Everybody loves free ice cream.
I love free ice cream, and I love Dairy Queen's ice cream.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It doesn't have any type of regulations like, only at certain, locations. I'm assuming the St. George location will have that for you. So
I just went to their website, and it says that this spring is treat season. And it looks like treat season is about to get better because your local Dairy Queen is offering free cones.
There you go.
Today.
Here you go. I am
Easy enough.
a source that is full of free food. when there's free food, I will sniff it out, and especially when it's ice cream at Dairy Queen. Not a bad deal. Now,
No.
I wish it was a little bit warmer out there. You can enjoy it a little bit more.
Don't
but
even care.
I don't think I care either.
I don't even care. Yeah. I
So
like
again,
that.
you're welcome. Yeah.
I'm curious now if that Dairy Queen drive-thru is going to blow up here a little bit.
Yeah, no kidding.
We got a couple Dairy Queens in town. Now, how many do we have? I know of it I can think of 2. We have one downtown. We have one on Dixie Drive over by Dixie Drive and Sunset.
Yep.
It's a newer one.
Yeah.
Do we have any more?
I think it's just those
2, right?
2.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of over by the new Smiths area, Dino Crossing and all stuff. I don't think so either. And then over in Washington, I think those are the 2.
Yeah, just those 2. Not even a sponsor. We just love ice cream.
Yeah.
That's how it goes around here.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just get talking about food just because we love food.
Yep.
It's that time of day, too, where you start to get some munchies, right?
Yeah.
You get a little hungry before dinner, so.
And, hey, also, too, one other thing that we love is baseball.
Yes, we are sports, so of course
definitely make sure you keep your ears here. Follow us on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We will have, as of right now, depending on inclement weather, we do have our first game of the week. Baseball-wise, Region 10 starts tomorrow. Crimson, the defending state champs, at Desert Hills up here at Thunder Field. So, again, weather permitting, that will be our first baseball Region 10 game of the week. So make sure that you're following us on all of the social media platforms, or you're listening to us here, whether it's the drive from 7 to 9 with Devin Dixon, Connor, and Prediction Paul, or here on From the Bleachers, and we'll keep you up to date on that.
I just checked on my phone,
Mm-hmm.
and it does say at this time tomorrow. Now, this could change. Weather changes pretty quickly. It does say that there's a 70% chance of rain 24 hours from now. Now, come game time around 7:30, that might change. It might be one of those things where it's a game time decision, too. Maybe we get all the way out there. And again, the streaming side of it, too, is also going to depend on if it is even a little rainy. We can't take our computer equipment out there.
Well, we do have our overhead.
Yeah,
though.
so that's another thing that we're going to be careful of, I should say, right? Is just we're going to make sure to be very careful of the equipment and stuff. And so, again, nothing set in stone.
Yeah.
But as of now, we're planning on it.
Yes.
We're planning on it.
And
so
then
that's what matters.
And then Wednesday's game will be Cedar at Dixie. So we are, again, that will be just, weather permitting.
Now, I don't think we are doing that one
Oh, we're not.
because we had scheduling conflicts.
Oh, we did? No
Yes.
kithink.
Yeah.
So do we have a game on Wednesday?
No games on Wednesday.
Oh, not
just
even
Tuesday.
a game on Wednesday.
Yep, just
Okay.
Tuesday's games. So
I must have, was it in there?
yeah.
Okay. Well, it was
Mark
a busy
needs to pay
weekend.
attention.
It was a busy weekend.
Yeah, basically scheduling conflicts
Gotcha.
with video crew. So,
Gotcha.
but again, we do what we can to bring you as many games as possible when we can. So, yeah. You're right about that, though. We do love our baseball, and baseball season is coming around. Doing some updates and stuff on the schedule and whatnot. And I will say this: there's a few teams that are playing some really good baseball right now, and teams that we expected to. Crimson has been winning some good games. Snow Canyon's been winning games.
Dixie.
As we've expected, Dixie's winning games. So, yeah, across the board, they're just playing really good baseball.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a fun region season for sure, not just on the baseball side of it. Again, Crimson.
And Crimson is undefeated, 7-0.
They are. They will definitely have their target on their back during region play and during the state run. But also, too, on the softball side, you've got, Snow Canyon, Desert Hills, all playing really well right now. So keep an eye on them as well. So, yeah, it'll be a fun region, certainly as it gets underway. Hopefully tomorrow.
Yeah. That's exactly right. We have the standings pulled up here as well, so kind of taking a look at those. You have Crimson Cliffs is right now up with an undefeated record. You have Snow Canyon 6-1, Dixie 5-1, Hurricane is 3-1. Desert Hills 2-5. Cedar 1-6. Pineview yet to get a win. 2 ties though somehow.
Mm-hmm.
5 losses, 2 ties.
Well,
Weather probably comes into it,
and
right?
a lot
In
of these
tournaments, they have time restrictions.
Yeah, tournament time, they do have 2-hour time limits. So
yeah, that does make sense.
mm-hmm.
That makes sense. So, yeah, some restrictions there. That I guess that happens. So, all right, hey, we're gonna take another break, and when we return, top of the hour, more here on From the Bleachers. So stick around. Welcome back, everybody. It's from the Bleachers, Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Kicking off your 5 o'clock hour here on the Fan Sports Network from the Findlay Hyundai studio. Findlay Hyundai, one of our great sponsors.
Yeah. Vroom, vroom.
Vroom. Oh, man. Vroom, vroom.
Oh. Thank you to our sponsors.
Their tagline is, by the way, Findlay Hyundai. Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's doing
it.
Okay.
Go to Findlay Hyundai.
Hey, we again, though, no laughing matter. Thank you to our sponsors.
They're great.
We certainly appreciate it.
You just threw me off with vroom, vroom. Oh, man. Yeah, that was great. That was great, Mark. I appreciate that. Well, welcome in, of course, here, 5 o'clock hour, as we mentioned, second half of the show. First half, we talked a lot about college basketball.
As we should.
Now, here's the thing. We have a lot going on right now with college basketball. Number one, our bracket challenge. If you put in a bracket, go on over to cbssports.com is the one that we use, so where you can go and see where you're at in the standings and whatnot. So head on over to cbssports.com. Check that out. If you head on over to our website, thefansportsnetwork.com, head on over to the website right now. What you're going to see is basically it's the graphic of where everyone is at right now with the fan challenge. So if you were one of those people that you got assigned a seed and maybe you forgot what that number was, maybe you forgot which seed you were assigned to, you can go over there and see where you're at, how you're doing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are out of business now.
Sure.
I mean, at this point, obviously well over half are gone.
Yeah.
So I will say this, though, let's see, we only have 2 1 seeds left in the tournament.
Right.
So right now, Matt Jamison, Danny Garcia, those are the 2 1 seeds that are left. So everyone else is gone. But, hey, if you got attached to Princeton, looking at you, Dale, you're probably feeling pretty good about yourself. You're like, hey, I was a 15 seed, and here I go, and I'm winning stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I'm looking on here too. Let's see. Just seeing if looks like Brett Warnick's moving on as well. Just kind of doing a couple of shout outs here. Joe
some
Soto,
people you know.
Amber Nelson, Ruben Pickering moving on, Kelly Smith moving on, Milt Happ moving on, Dale Brewster, Kylan Osborne, Ray Salas, Matt Jamison again. Matt Jamison looking good. He has, looks like that would be the Bama number 1.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of good. Yeah. So you guys are all still in it, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Lots of great.
And that's the Traeger, correct?
That's the Traeger.
That's
Y'all
the Traeger.
are fighting for a Traeger over there.
Oh, my gosh. That's about... those are about $1,000 to $1,500, aren't they?
Yeah, so that specific one is about $1,000. It's close. I think it's just shy. But by the time you actually add everything up, you're over $1,000.
And I think it has the app. It has the stuff where you can actually start it from your phone.
Yeah.
You can actually light it and get it. I don't know how all that works. I need to get a Traeger.
They're pretty nice.
Yeah.
Now, again, you have to haul your food out to it. So whatever you're smoking, sorry, there's not the technology to just conveyor belt it down to your Traeger. We don't have that yet. You can't do that through Wi-Fi. But
right,
yeah, you do have that ability, so it's pretty great. It's pretty great. I wonder if I can let me see if I can get this pulled up on the screen as well. Maybe I can. I want to see if I can get this pulled up for you so you can see where everyone's at on our YouTube page. Yeah, because right now we're going hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. If you're on YouTube, you can check this out, see where everyone's at. So, road to the finals. There it is. Everybody's pulled up right there.
There you go.
So, check that out. Very good. Anyways,
and again, a big shout out to all of our sponsors that are involved in that one as well. And you can see all of their logos right there within the bracket. We certainly want to, give them the proper mentions as well. We certainly appreciate all of our sponsors here on the Fan Sports Network. So, again, thank you so much. And then in our other bracket, our our fan, just filling out a bracket. You're not tied to anybody, just whoever does the best. And we have $995 on the line. Cooper Andra, right now you are sitting number 1. And I got to tell you, you're looking pretty good with your max points too. That's looking pretty solid. Bryson Anderson sitting number 2. Actually, these guys are all tied for first. And Danny Garcia. So all of you guys are tied for first. Jordan Gray, you're still hanging in there, although Purdue is knocked out, so your finalist is gone. And then there's a guy named Caden Formaster sitting 5th as well. So
I wonder who that guy is. I bet he's doing really well.
Somehow he cheated. I don't know how, but I'll find out.
No, I don't know. He's doing pretty good right there, hanging out in 5th place.
But you are not eligible for...
I can't win.
You can't win, even though you are playing.
I'm going to try to win.
Yeah.
And if I win, we'll give it to number 2. But I want to take number 1.
Yeah, I mean, the great Carl Lamar says you can't win if you don't play. Well, you are playing, and you still can't win.
Yeah. It's one of the downsides to this job. It's one of the downsides is I get to play, but I can't win anything.
Yeah, Bobby Robledo, you're hanging in there at 8th. So hopefully some things go your way as well. Ryan Losey, Tony Polu, you're hanging in there also. Rick Nelson. And I can't even say as many names to get to my name, so I won't even get there.
Mark, you're down at your favorite number.
I am down at my favorite number.
Tied for 32.
Tied for 32nd. Yeah.
But at least you're on your favorite number.
I am.
Does that count for something?
That's a win-win right there.
I am in between my 2 favorite numbers. My favorite number is 6. My second favorite is number 4, and I'm at number 5.
Yeah.
So I split them. It works out. I'm fine with 5. I'll take 5 right now. But I'm coming for you, number 1, guys. There's 3 of you. Danny, Bryson, Cooper, I'm coming for you.
But don't worry about it. He can't win.
I can't win.
So,
but I'm coming for
you. He can talk all the talk he wants, you guys. You guys are in the running for the Traeger.
Hey, can I tell you where our buddy Devin Dixon's at?
Oh, boy. Please be below me.
Last I looked, okay. He is 1, 2. He is currently tied for second to last.
Okay.
So he's not doing well.
Oh, Double D. I feel your pain, though. I'm sitting 32nd. So.
But he has a lot of potential points. He can skyrocket up.
Yeah.
If Gonzaga wins, he's good. That's who he has right now is Gonzaga. If Gonzaga wins, he'll be okay.
He has them winning it all?
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll see what he can do. I'm going to look at his bracket right now just to see. Ooh, yeah. So here's the thing. The Midwest is very busted. He had Arizona going to face Alabama.
But he has the same championship game as I do. He has Gonzaga. I have Bama winning.
Yep. But he had his East is gone.
Interesting.
And I'm only saying this because I know he would also say it too.
Yeah.
His West looks all right. His West is decent. So again, as far as his Final Four goes, he has 3 left, which I think a lot of us do.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 3 left in the game right now, so not too bad. So hey, let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay,
we've been talking basketball all day. I could talk basketball all day. You know me. I could talk basketball all day. Let's switch gears a little bit. Get into some NFL stuff.
Yeah, let's do it.
A lot of NFL stuff is going on right now. Jimmy G, officially a Raider, and he has now presented himself to the media, and he's in Las Vegas. He's made some comments about Las Vegas, being like, hey, we're out and about, and my family, the fans are excited. They're really happy. They've been very gracious to me. Has been some of his comments.
I listened to most of his press conference. It was about 17 minutes long. And one of the things, though, that I did get caught up in was they kind of asked him what it means to him to be a Raider. You've got the black hole and things like that. And he's like, one of the things that I really love about this is that I get to wear black all the time. He goes, I love wearing black. And I got to tell you, he is a good-looking man. I'm watching the press conference. And I'm like, that dude is a good-looking dude. And you can say anything you want about me, but That dude is a good-looking dude.
He's a good-looking dude. You can't deny that. Come on.
Wow.
Come on. Yeah, I mean,
He'll wear number 10.
yeah, he's gonna be number 10, and yeah, he's excited.
Yeah,
He's
right
excited.
there. That was the outfit that he was wearing during his.
Should we hear what he has to say?
Yeah, let's see what he
about
has to say right there.
Raider Nation, what's going on, guys? Glad to be here. Just made it official. Can't wait to get to work, man. Let's go get this thing. Go get some W's.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, you can see he's sitting in a Raider chair. He's got his all black on, and he does look good. So, regardless of what you think about Jimmy G, he's a good quarterback. Is he a top echelon quarterback? Maybe not.
No.
But he has led teams to the playoffs. He has led teams with playoff wins. Certainly does he have his faults? You betcha. He probably doesn't have the strongest arm in the world. I read some posts earlier where people were saying that that Al Davis is probably rolling over in his grave because he doesn't have a big-armed quarterback. I'm like, you know what? It's time.
Modern football.
It is
too.
modern football. And, he has great targets. They added a target today or recently, O.J. Howard, tight end.
Oh, yeah.
So
they did finally get your tight end. They finally got a tight end.
A tight end. And I even read some stuff, too, where, with how deep this draft is, there are some good tight ends. They might even address the depth of that in this draft as well. I looked at the latest mock draft. Have you seen that, Caden?
Not the latest.
So
No.
I looked at the latest mock draft, and they actually have the Raiders trading up one spot to pick a quarterback.
Now, which specific mock draft were you
I am on CBS Sports.
Okay.
And it is, let me see here. It's Ryan Wilson.
And in what round were they? Oh, you're looking at, okay, so they have, Ryan Wilson tweeted. I was like, Ryan Wilson, a quarterback? I don't know a quarterback name. So his idea was that they trade with the Lions. They flip-flop with the Lions, and they draft Will Levis out of
And because,
Kentucky.
One of the things, too, is they know that Jimmy G does have a history of getting hurt, not being able to do a full 17-game season.
And that's actually the quarterback, by the way, if I am the Raiders, that's the quarterback that if he's available, I get him.
Yeah.
I 100% believe that the Raiders should, if a good enough quarterback is available, they should draft one in the first round.
They're kind of comparing him to Josh Allen. So they have that, that's what they compare him to here in this mock draft. So that would be a great move. And if he can have a 2 years or whatever behind Jimmy G, who again sat behind the GOAT, Tom Brady, and they asked about that as well to Jimmy G in the press conference and what he learned mostly from Tom Brady, and it was really work ethic and preparation.
Sure. By the way, again, back to the draft, I'm just seeing some of these guys. One of them has the Raiders trading up to third to grab C.J. Stroud.
Wow.
I don't see them actually trading. I think they can stick right at 7 and still have one of those quarterbacks fall.
Well, and that's the thing, too.
There's 5 quarterbacks that are first-round quarterbacks.
I looked at that Detroit Lion trade, and I'm like, I don't think Detroit is even interested in a quarterback.
They might be, but not. I think they're happy with what Goff gave them last year.
Me too.
It would just be the idea of let's get someone for just in case, but I think you can do that through go pick up Zach Wilson. Throw him on your bench. I don't care. I think there's options. And not saying Zach Wilson's the option. There's other backup quarterbacks that would fit.
And what the Raiders gave up to in this mock draft, swapping 6 and 7 pick with Detroit, just getting up one and then Detroit will pick after them, was they gave up a 70th round pick as well. So, the Raiders do have a lot of picks. They do have some trade assets that they can use to trade up if they need to. If they feel that one of these quarterbacks is their guy after the Jimmy G experiment, then go get him. Go get him because you do have the trade assets right now to do that. And if you don't, I'm okay if they don't either because I love building a team through the draft. I think that that Ziegler, the GM of the Raiders, and McDaniels will do. We don't know how their drafts are panning out yet.
Yeah,
their first one was last year. They were hired on a couple of months before the draft. So we'll see what happens here. And they didn't have a first-round draft pick last year.
No,
because they got
the
Devontae Adams
trade.
So, Gruden's track record wasn't great when it comes to the draft. Let's hope that McDaniels is a little bit better for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Hopefully. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a quarterback. I will say this, looking at there's 4 quarterbacks that right now are kind of locked in around the top 5 or so, maybe a little after that. And I just don't see Anthony Richardson being like one of those is bound to be a bust. And to me, it's Anthony Richardson. To me, I could be wrong. And maybe I hope I am wrong because I don't want to wish a bad career on any of these prospects.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just like, I just don't know if he proved much with Florida. To me, he looks a lot like he looks a lot like a Justin Fields. And Justin Fields hasn't proved anything to me yet.
Not yet.
NFL.
Not
He's
yet.
great on his feet. He's breaking so many rushing records for quarterbacks. But that's not a quarterback. That's a running back.
Yeah, he's a good fantasy football quarterback, but is he a good football quarterback?
That's what I'm saying. Is he going to go out there and win you games? No. Is he going to break records? Absolutely. But is he going to win you games? I want a quarterback to win me games. I don't care about stats. Go rush 400 yards as a quarterback. I don't care. But are you winning the game? If you're not a good quarterback.
So right now in this mock draft, again, mock drafts are kind of like, it's just something to talk about. It's like a person's, 17th bracket. These are all just kind of guesses. They really are.
Yeah.
So they have Bryce Young still going number 1 to Carolina. CJ Stroud, number 2 to the Houston Texans. Cardinals are going to go outside the quarterback position, and they're going to go for an edge rusher and Will Anderson Jr. from Alabama, first in his position rank. Then you had the aforementioned Anthony Richardson, quarterback to the Indianapolis Colts. The Seahawks are going to go outside of the quarterback position as well, and they're going to go after defensive lineman out of Georgia. Again, first in his position rank. And then if they do that trade with the Lions, the Raiders would be next taking Will Levis, quarterback. And they have him actually third in that position rank. Detroit Lions would then go ahead and take an edge and Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. So, yeah, it's, mock drafts are always fun to look at, but that's all they are good for. They're just fun to look at.
No, honestly, last year, when you're looking at the number 1 pick, Aiden Hutchinson was like the clear number 1 pick in everyone's mock drafts.
Yes.
And he went number 2.
Yeah. And he still should have went number 1, though.
Should have went number 1. Instead, they went with, who was it? Kid from Georgia. I forgot his name already. See that again.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
That's how forgetful the number 1 pick was.
Yeah.
I should know it. It's escaped me. That's besides the point. But again, you just don't know. You look at all these, and it's like every single analyst is going to come up with a different mock draft, and every single analyst is different from every other analyst, right? So there's really no point in getting too worked up over some of these mock drafts.
Trayvon Walker.
That's right, Trayvon Walker. You shouldn't get your hopes up off of one person's mock draft.
Oh, heavens no! They're just fun to talk about,
they're
fun to look at.
Talk about, and you can talk about what your team needs the most, right? Whatever team you're a fan of. Again, we cover Raiders, so we'll talk Raiders here, but I do think that they should be fighting for a quarterback. So seeing some of these mock drafts where they do take one, it's like, yeah, you know what? That's not too surprising for me. I think that makes
me
sense.
neither, because Jimmy G isn't the long answer. I mean,
not at all.
3-year contract, and he's still kind of younger. I think he's late 20s.
Yeah, he's around my age. I think he and I are close to the same age.
So I mean, he could be a 5-year quarterback if everything plays out well. But I don't. But as of right now, I don't see Jimmy G as the long-term answer. I think he's a great stopgap quarterback. 2, maybe 3 years at the most, and then hopefully you have somebody that he has been grooming to take over.
that place. It's really hard when you have so many talented quarterbacks coming out of college football for guys like Jimmy Garoppolo to stay in the league. The fact that he still has a starting position has been really quite good for him, if you ask me. And I think he is a starting level quarterback, so don't get me wrong there. But I just think there's so many talented guys that come in and get a taste of the league, and then it's like, okay, so that guy's good. Well, you got to get rid of somebody. Somebody's going to have to become a free agent that no one picks up.
Right.
Who's that guy going to be? Jimmy Garoppolo's not there yet, but the longer he goes in his career, but of gaining that reputation of being the guy that's always injured and the guy that that doesn't have maybe the success that you want, right? The more success he gets here with the Raiders in Las Vegas, the more of a chance it is that he signs a contract extension, or maybe another team looks at him and they do some sort of a trade deal. Maybe the Raiders do go out and they draft a quarterback, and that quarterback shows promise. So they say, well, we got to dump Jimmy G somewhere. And again, he kind of did that with the 49ers already, where it's like he played good enough that teams want him.
Right.
But maybe his future is still just a little too unclear for me at this moment. So, yeah. Well, let's take a break, shall we? And when we return, we'll have more for you here on From the Bleachers. Stick around. Welcome back, everybody. It's from the Bleachers, broadcasting live from the Findlay Hyundai studio. Caden Formaster and Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Mark, we started some football discussions, talked a little bit about Jimmy G, maybe the Raiders' future with him and quarterbacks as a whole, but there's still a lot of free agents that are left right now. So, let's hop into this a little bit. CBS Sports had an article that they put out recently that gives us some insight into maybe some thoughts of where will these teams go, right? Or not these teams go, but where will these players go? Mm-hmm. What teams are maybe willing to pick them up? So let's look at some of these, because Lamar Jackson, his future is still a little up for grabs.
As of right now, he's a Raven. They do have the non-exclusive franchise tag on him, but he is still out there.
So I'm going to bring up these trades or these signings or whatever it is. Some of these are free agents. Some of these could be trades. You tell me your thoughts on them.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
Okay.
First one first. Again, Lamar Jackson to the Lions.
That would be weird.
I think I feel like it's almost a bad move. Not even for Lamar. I think it's almost a bad move for the Lions. And I think Lamar's a great quarterback, and he's better than Jared Goff. I just feel like what the Lions have established is it the same kind of play style that they've already got going for?
It's certainly not the same kind of play style. Jared Goff does not scramble.
Not like that.
He doesn't scramble.
At all. Yeah.
He scrambles like Tom Brady.
And I guess, would the Lions get more wins with him? Yeah, they would, but would they be a powerhouse? I think the Lions are at that cusp of, I'm not saying they're going to be a powerhouse, but they might compete for their division.
Lamar Jackson, MVP.
Yeah.
A past MVP.
That.
I would think if you're a Lions fan, I think that you would be very excited about this if that was to happen.
It's an interesting prospect.
Because,
least, right?
again, I would much rather have an electric quarterback like a Lamar Jackson than a Jared Goff, where again, Jared Goff in today's NFL, we know the ceiling. We know what Jared Goff can do. And is that going to be enough to get you where you want to be? Probably not. Now, if your ultimate goal is to maybe reach a playoff and maybe win a playoff game, then Jared Goff would be your guy. I don't think that's the ultimate goal for any NFL team. Lamar Jackson can take you to those other places. And then, whatever you've built in your offensive line, maybe it was more of a pass block versus a run block team. You'll deal with the changes that you need to make. But, yeah, if you have an opportunity, I think, to go get a Lamar Jackson, I think you go get him.
I agree. I mean, yeah, if it's available.
I mean, Jared Goff.
It's a good switch. You could actually probably switch Jared Goff. And I don't know what their contracts are like. But for the Ravens, if they're like, hey, we're going to lose him, we got to get somebody. I think Jared Goff and Lamar making that switch isn't a bad.
There would be worse than Jared Goff. I mean, again, that's what I'm saying. Jared Goff, you know what you're getting. You're going to get an accurate quarterback. He's not going to be flashy. He's just going to, he's going to take you to a certain place. That's not where the ultimate goal is, though. I don't think Jared Goff is the guy that's going to take you to the Super Bowl, take you to an NFC championship game. You might win a wild card game with a Jared Goff. That's what I'm saying. That's why the Rams moved on from him. And when they got Stafford, you saw what they did.
Right. I like it. All right. We'll keep our minds on that one for the future. Let's move on to the next one. Ezekiel Elliott to the Chargers.
Now, would he be playing with Austin Eckler or would Austin Eckler be gone? Like, is this a trade?
So here's what it says. Austin Eckler, no, because he's been released, so it's not a trade.
Zeke. Oh, that's
Zeke's
true.
Been released.
So they would just sign him.
Yes. So basically what's going on, here's what it says. So Austin Eckler is infinitely more valuable in today's NFL, but he's reportedly seeking a trade because of a contract dispute. So if he's moved, Elliott could be plugged in to go alongside Joshua Kelly. So the idea
So it doesn't sound like they'll play together.
No. So the idea would be you trade Austin Eckler away, and maybe you pick up safety.
Well,
I don't know. You pick up whatever.
Again, between those two players, I would take Austin Eckler.
Oh, so would I.
Day in and day out.
But if Austin Eckler doesn't want to be there, you have those situations.
If he does want to move his way out of San Diego, Los Angeles, dang it, then
that one gets you a lot.
That one does get me.
There's few things that get you. You know,
I don't even say Oakland Raiders. I mean, I say Las Vegas Raiders all the time.
Funny? We just talking about the Raiders in the last break. I was thinking Oakland.
Were you really?
Said Las Vegas. And
right.
I'm glad I caught myself because I was thinking the Oakland Raiders, but I caught myself.
The Chargers, San Diego, LA, it does get me still to this
a little bit
to this day. So
a little bit.
But yes, between those two players, obviously, I don't know why Austin Eckler would want out of LA Chargers because they have a great quarterback in place. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a bounce back year. I still think he's one of the best, a top 5 quarterback in the league. Stats don't show that from last year, but I still think that Justin Herbert is a great NFL quarterback or will be a great NFL quarterback. So if you're Eckler, I don't know why I would want to leave that, plus the climate in Los Angeles. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But if I'm the Chargers, I try to get him happy. Would Zeke be an option for them? Yes. But again, there's a reason why Tony Pollard is in Big D and Zeke Elliott is not.
Sure.
There's a reason why Zeke Elliott, who a couple of years ago was signed to that big contract, and he just hasn't lived up to those expectations or lived up to that dollar amount that Dallas signed him for, which is what he was pushing for, and he just hasn't been able to deliver. Tony Pollard has. There's a reason why Zeke is out of Big D.
Yeah,
is all I'm saying. And if I'm the
Tony
Chargers,
Pollard isn't even really accessible this next season, at least for right now,
right?
Just because he's been injured. So Dallas is putting a lot of stock into a guy that's injured versus the guy that they had for a few years because they know what he is.
Yeah,
and he's just not the guy. Zeke is not the guy.
And I'm wondering, I've never really looked into this or heard things. I don't know. I'm curious as to how good of a locker room guy that Zeke Elliott is.
That's a good question.
Again, I haven't heard bad things, but I haven't heard good things either. I guess no news is good news, but I'm just curious.
Sometimes they keep that stuff under
wraps. Sometimes they do keep it internal.
They don't want people to know that, hey, we have locker room issues.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they want to keep it under wraps just because they want to save face for the brand and not necessarily for Zeke.
Very difficult. I totally agree with what you're saying. Nowadays, it's much more difficult to keep it under wraps with social media and everything like that.
Kyler Murray is a perfect example of that, where he is just so loud on social media, and then they have to go out and be like, I don't know what to tell you because he's complaining about this, but we're also having issues with him because he won't go to and watch film.
Yeah,
he's too busy playing Call of Duty. So he won't go. So it's like, so you have one side being like, they treat me bad, and it's like, dude, you don't even come to practice.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. That's a whole different situation.
I agree.
Again, it is hard though to keep those kinds of things. So is Zeke a Charger next year? It's
I
tough.
think they get something worked out with Eckler.
I hope they do. For their sake, I hope they do. And I don't know where Zeke lands. I think he needs to go somewhere to a team that maybe the running back was not their strong position. And maybe he goes to go to Chicago. I don't know.
What about Denver?
Maybe
Denver. I mean,
I don't know.
You got,
and it's not a bad thing for people to have two good running backs too. So
there's a lot of running back by committee nowadays, anyways.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, does Zeke Elliott's ego allow him to be part of a running back committee? And that may have been one of the problems or issues last year, where he doesn't want to share the ball with Tony Pollard. He doesn't want to be a running back by committee, half of that. So that could be another issue with Zeke Elliott. Again, I really haven't heard anything like that, but that could be an issue just with Zeke being Zeke.
Yeah, that's true.
He probably feels that he's a Saquon Barkley type, he wants to be a first down back, a second down back, and a third down back, and he also wants to be the goal line back. I think he has that little bit of an old school to him that he feels that he should be on pretty much every snap.
Yeah.
as opposed to first and second and goal line.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
see
know.
that.
I don't know. I haven't really heard anything, but I could kind of see that.
Again, is it one of those where no news is good news, like you
Right,
mentioned?
right.
It's tough to say. Let's move on, though. We have Odell Beckham Jr., and CBS Sports has him locked into the Vikings. So let's backtrack here. Vikings release Adam Thielen.
Which
right?
That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
I also don't understand. He had a decent season last
Got
year.
good hands. I mean,
he's a little older.
Justin Jefferson took a lot of his catches away because Justin Jefferson is a freak.
Yeah, but Justin Jefferson should take a lot of those catches away because he's just better.
But you need a nice compliment. And I guess OBJ could be that person. But, you speak about getting older. What's the age group with this? Odell Beckham Jr. versus Adam Thielen, but OBJ hasn't played for...
And he's an injured OBJ coming off of an ACL.
Yeah.
Again, I maybe go with Thielen, but they already got rid of him. So,
yeah, they did. They did.
So you got to take that spot somewhere. I'm with you. I don't understand completely the concept around let's get rid of Adam Thielen, but let's bring in OBJ.
I know.
I don't know. To me, that just wouldn't make too much sense. Now, this isn't the team that's saying this. This is just CBS Sports.
Correct.
So
correct.
This is all assumptions. But sometimes assumptions have to come from some truth, right? So we'll see on that. That's another one of those. DJ Chark, another one of those receivers to go to the Saints. Follow Jamal Williams from Detroit down to New Orleans. Maybe. I don't know. There's a possibility there. That's one that I'm just going to kind of breeze past because I wanted to get onto the next one. A guy that you really wanted to join the Raiders.
Yeah, I did.
They have him going to the Bengals. Dalton Schultz, tight end to the Bengals. Thoughts on that one,
I think
Mark?
anywhere he goes is a good spot will benefit the team for sure. I just love the way he plays. I love how he can read zones. He can find the soft spot in those. And if a team isn't in zone and they're in man-to-man coverage, he's a good route runner. I just love everything about Dalton Schultz, and I wish he was going to be wearing silver and black. If he's wearing Bengals colors, you know what? I kind of like Cincinnati, so I would be rooting for him there as well. We'll just have to wait and see. But, Dalton Schultz would be a great target. Would be a great target for Joe Burrow. No question about it.
Dalton Schultz, it feels like he's been in the league for a while. He's made a decent name for himself with Dallas.
Last couple of years, for sure.
How old do you think Dalton Schultz is?
I think he's only like 27, isn't he?
He's only 27.
27.
Now, a lot of people are worried because they're like, oh, is he getting to that point in his career where he's going to start going downhill? The dude's only 27.
Yeah, he's only 27. And he's really just kind of stepped out of his shell the last couple of years with the Cowboys where he's been, making those big catches and big times. The Cowboys always lean on their tight end a little bit more than other teams do. And Dalton Schultz really fits that position for them. And why they're not going after him to re-sign him is, again, I'm not in practices or I'm not in the tight end room and those kind of conversations. But man, if I was a Cowboy fan or Cowboys, I'd want Dalton Schultz back in Big D.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a Cowboys fan.
As an Eagles fan, you got to be hoping they ship him out because, again, I think with him being gone, that weakens the Cowboys a little bit.
Well, because who do they have outside of that right now? They just don't have any. Unless, again, as you mentioned, the draft has some decent tight ends right now. But I feel like a good tight end, takes some time to get fully seasoned. It's going to take them a little bit to get into a rhythm and into a groove to where they feel comfortable. So Dalton Schultz is going to be a great tight end, whoever does end up with him, and maybe Dallas will find a way to keep him around. But
so here's the depth chart right now with the Dallas Cowboys on the tight end.
Okay,
they have. Tell me if you've heard of any of these guys. They have Jake Ferguson.
Not that I know of.
They have Peyton Hendershot.
Nope.
Sean McKeon.
Nope.
And Ian Bunting. That's who they have. That's their number one right now is Jake Ferguson. So again, why Dallas isn't making a harder push for Dalton Schultz is beyond me. Maybe Dalton doesn't want to be there, but
maybe
I'm just, it just kind of surprises me a little bit because Dallas, with their offense, they do lean on their tight ends quite a bit. They need to have good hands. They need to be good route runners. They need to be able to read zone defenses, find the soft spot, and kind of sit and wait for the ball.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so let's go into this too. This is talking Dalton Schultz to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's in need of a tight end. That's a good fit there.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes to Cincinnati, let's talk about the possibility of what that means for Cincy, right? Now you have Joe Burrow as a quarterback. You also have Jamar Chase there. And by the way, there's still a big question mark around a certain player because of some off-the-field issues. So we're looking at, we won't get into all of that. But a good, solid tight end could be another one of those things that offense can use to then go out and not only win games, they want to win a championship, and they are close. They are very close.
And Cincinnati's depth chart with tight ends is number one is Devin Asiasi, Tanner Houston number 2, Nick Bowers number 3. So again, those are tight ends that I just haven't really been aware of.
Right. Yeah. And again, it's tough to say because there's some issues on the future. But right now, as far as targets would go, you would have Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd is questionable with injuries and stuff, but then you'd throw Dalton Schultz into the mix.
That would be,
sounds good.
It definitely sounds good. Joe Burrow's got to be just crossing his fingers. That would be a great pickup for the Bengals. That would be a great scenario.
Yeah, if they could, that'd be great. That'd be great. All right, Mark, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to be wrapping up the show.
Yeah. Let's talk a little WBC baseball.
Yeah. A little Trey Turner, maybe?
He might be mentioned. He's all right.
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. All right, more when we come back. Welcome back in, everybody. It's from the Bleachers, here from the Findlay Hyundai studio. Caden Formaster, Mark Musgrave.
The voice you know.
Another shout out for our listeners that we are now live streaming the show on YouTube. So if you want to watch us, and especially when we have guests in studio, it's a great way to, have a little bit of interaction. You can also obviously go over there, and if you hit up the comment section, it's an easy way to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
So if we're talking about something and you're saying, hey, I agree with that, and let me tell you why. Or you're saying, hey, I disagree with that, let me tell you why. Lots of good ways to stay involved. So again, hit us up over on YouTube. It's just the Fan Sports Network. Search for us on YouTube. We're easy to find. So, Mark, World Baseball Classic.
Boy, there were some fireworks over the weekend in that Cuba-USA game. Man, Trey Turner.
And it was winner moves on, loser goes home.
That's right.
So it was a big game.
It was. And Trey Turner just had a huge game. I'm going to miss that dude.
He's going to Philly, right?
In a Dodger uniform. Yes.
Playing for the Phillies? Yeah.
Ugh, stupid Philadelphia. I hate every Philadelphia team there is.
Well, Trey Turner, walk-off grand slam to give him the go-ahead, and they end up winning that game against Cuba. They do move on in the World Baseball Classic out of, what were they, Pool C, I want to say?
Yeah, I think so.
So they move on and continue their run. What's crazy, Mark, is we're going to have MLB baseball in like 10 days.
Yeah.
I think is opening day.
Yeah.
We're about 10 days away. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, excuse me. And just FYI, USA awaiting the winner of Mexico-Japan. That game is being played right now. Top of the third, 0-0 right now. So I'm going to keep an eye on that game as it moves forward. But, yeah, USA advances past Cuba 14-2. And, I found an interesting story. It was actually on ESPN. And, they were talking about Nolan Arenado. Nolan Arenado's grandparents actually escaped Cuba to come to America. And they were talking to Nolan Arenado. And he goes, if it wasn't for the sacrifices my grandparents made to get here for my parents, I don't know if I would have been the player that I am today. So there's a lot of feelings I feel towards it. I respect them. I respect the players, but we do have a job to do. Now, there are a couple of MLBers played for Team Cuba.
Yeah.
They were, Johan Moncada and Luis Robert Jr. of the White Sox both played for Cuba in the WBC. Now, there was also a short list of players that maybe they were invited. If they were invited, they turned them down. Listen to these names that come from Cuba descent.
Okay.
Jose Abreu.
Great name. Yeah.
Jordan Alvarez.
Uh-huh.
Aroldis Chapman. Yasmani Grandal. Yandy Diaz. And notably also Randy Arozarena. Sorry.
Arozarena.
Yeah, Arozarena. Now, if they were invited, they declined. And Arozarena is actually playing for Mexico right now. But so anyways, I guess there were a lot of protesters outside the game as well, protesting Cuba.
Now, it was in Florida, right?
Yes, it
the
was.
Game was played in Miami.
Yeah, it was.
Which Miami has a huge Cuban influence.
Absolutely.
So
really interesting game.
That does make it interesting.
I'm just glad USA won 14-2 on the back of Trey Turner, who, yes, I will miss as a Dodger. But they are awaiting the winner of Mexico-Japan right now again, 0-0 in the third. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah. I can't believe they again, that game the other night, and it was the one against Venezuela that he hit the walk-off.
Yes.
Because it was a 9-7 win.
Oh, that's right. Right.
They walked through Cuba.
Yeah, they walked through Cuba. Yeah.
So the one against Venezuela was the
big Trey Turner.
Yeah, and they moved on, played Cuba, and it was an easy 14-2.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right though. Mexico, Japan. You said that one's going on right now.
Right now, bottom of the third, 0-0.
Oh yeah, very good. So Mexico's had 2 hits to Japan's 1. So it's
Yeah.
been a light game so far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's not bad though.
So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, and we're hoping to hear back from. I'm hoping that we hear back from the Las Vegas Aviators. I hope to have some of those.
Did you reach out to them again?
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting to hear back. So
all right.
We
We're
definitely
hoping to
want
get some Aviator
yeah,
tickets.
yeah, we want to have that option to where we can do some promotions and giveaways and let you guys, get those tickets down there. We gave away several tickets last summer to some awesome winners. They took pictures, had a great time. We talked to several of them via social media or messaging, and every single one of those winners last year came back with just great thoughts, and we're so happy that they went to the Las Vegas ballpark and watched the Las Vegas Aviators. Ton of fun.
It's so fun.
It's a
so
great,
fun.
great little ballpark, too.
I need to break out my Aviators jersey. I got one because I just love going to Aviator games so much.
Now,
they're so great.
You've been to a few of them, just like as I have.
I've been to like 3 now.
Yeah, a handful.
They're fun.
Is there a bad seat in that ballpark?
No.
There's not, is there?
I have sat, well, again, in the 3 times that I've sat there, I've sat on just about every single side.
Yeah.
It's intimate enough that every seat's a good seat.
Right.
Right? Imagine if you're going to an MLB game. For any of you that have been to an MLB game and you have to go sit in the nosebleeds.
There's some seats that aren't great.
It's an MLB park. Those are going to exist, right? Well, this is a minor league park. Your nosebleed seats just don't exist.
They don't.
They don't exist.
It's a great ballpark. It's clean. It's right next to some great
well, and that's the
shopping
other thing too,
as well.
Is I know some people can worry, you might have the stigma of Las Vegas being a little dirty or whatever. It's in Summerlin.
This is in Summerlin, yes.
it's Summerlin is the ritzy part of Las Vegas. You're in safe neighborhood. There's a very nice mall, which I've gone and walked through that mall. It's a beautiful mall. I bought my suit for my wedding at that mall.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I got it over there. So it's a great area.
I bought my Las Vegas Raider Yeti in that mall.
Oh, there you go. They do have a Las Vegas Raiders store in that mall.
They do.
It's not like a sporting goods store. It is a Las Vegas Raiders specific to them store. And anyway, so you go in. They have everything. If you want an adult beverage, they have a full bar, as well as some of the best food. They have in the, I want to say it's the right field corner. They have a grill where you can go get some amazing burgers.
Right.
They're nachos that come in a helmet, as you get loaded nachos with just about anything you can imagine on them. I mean, I know we're hyping them up, and we don't even have our tickets to give away yet this year. But
yeah, I know. But we're working on it. We're working on it.
We'll get them.
We are working on some unbelievable summer promotions right now because summer will be upon us before you know it.
Yeah.
I know it's still rainy and kind of cold out there, but it's going to turn fast. I was talking to somebody today, and I'm hoping that this does not happen. So we're in March right now, and this is actually kind of normal weather because it seems like with these baseball tournaments leading up to Region 10 play, we always kind of fight weather a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping it's not the scenario where we go from the 50s and 60s and we skip the 70s and 80s and go right into the 90s. But
yeah, that's not fun.
But I am ready for summer.
I'm ready for summer. I'm not ready for 105.
Not yet.
No, I'm good for 90s. Throw me in the 90s. I don't care. But I do like it, though, because, again, and you know this being an avid golfer yourself, right? Just how nice an 80-degree day is. 80 degrees is just like pristine to me.
But if you don't have a tee time already set up, it's very difficult.
You got to get it
to go out there.
Advance,
yes,
maybe even a week
now,
in advance.
When it's 105, you can call up just about anywhere and say, "Hey, can you get me on in about 20 minutes?" You betcha. Come on out.
I've done that. I've done that many times. It's
so
great.
That's why I love summer golf here in St. George.
Me too. All right, we have to head out. Thanks for stopping in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.